The world of Yaman, once a fortress of loyalty, friendship, and success, has suddenly begun to crumble from within. What seemed like a circle of trust, a team that stood by him during his rise to international fame, has now turned into a battlefield of secrets, betrayal, and silence. Fans who followed him since his early days could never imagine that behind that confident smile and magnetic presence, a storm was quietly building, and it all started with someone he trusted the most. Sources close to the actor revealed that the tension had been growing for months. At first, it looked like simple professional disagreements, creative opinions, scheduling issues, or media misunderstandings. But soon, something darker began to unfold. Whispers of betrayal began circulating among his closest friends, and one day, Ken reportedly received a message that changed everything. It wasn't just a rumor, it was a confirmation that someone from his inner circle, a person who had shared his victories, his travels, and even his private confessions, had turned against him. The betrayal wasn't financial or about fame, it was personal. The same person who once defended him in interviews, who spoke about his loyalty and passion, was now feeding private information to people outside the circle. Details about Ken's upcoming projects, his personal habits, and even his emotional struggles were being shared without his consent. For a man who values privacy as much as he values honesty, this hit harder than anyone could imagine. One insider described the moment he found out. He froze. You could see it in his eyes, that disbelief, that mix of sadness and anger. He didn't shout. He just said, "Now I know why things started to feel wrong." Those around him noticed how his energy changed overnight. He withdrew, became quieter, and started cutting communication with almost everyone. Even on social media, fans began noticing subtle shifts, fewer posts, fewer smiles, and more cryptic captions that hinted at pain. What's most shocking is that the betrayal might have involved more than one person. Some claim it wasn't just a single act, but a chain of coordinated leaks meant to damage his reputation during a delicate moment in his career. Was it jealousy? Revenge? Or something even more personal? No one knows for sure yet, but what's certain is that Yaman, the man who once stood surrounded by loyalty, is now standing alone. After the truth came out, the silence around Yaman became almost unbearable. Those who used to fill his days with energy and laughter began to disappear one by one. Messages went unanswered, meetings were cancelled, and even some of his longtime collaborators started to act distant. It was clear that the betrayal had sent shockwaves through his entire world, and no one wanted to be the next to fall. The person at the center of the storm, whose identity still remains partially hidden from the public, was reportedly someone Ken had trusted for years. They weren't just a colleague, they were family. Someone who had been by his side through every major project, who had shared meals, traveled across countries, and seen sides of him that no fan ever could. When people heard who it was, even those close to him refused to believe it at first. It couldn't be them, one friend said. They were like his shadow. But the evidence was undeniable. Screenshots, voice notes, and even photos confirmed the betrayal. According to insiders, Ken tried to handle it quietly at first. He confronted the person in private, hoping for an explanation, maybe even an apology. But instead, he was met with denial, and that broke something inside him. It wasn't the act itself that hurt him the most, another source explained. It was the way they looked him in the eyes and lied. That moment, witnesses say, was when his trust in people shattered completely. In the following weeks, Ken began removing several individuals from his professional team. His management changed, his PR circle was reshuffled, and even some old collaborators were suddenly gone. Social media detectives quickly picked up on it. Fans noticed unfollowings, deleted photos, and cryptic captions like "Loyalty isn't a word, it's a choice." The betrayal had not only wounded his heart, it had reshaped his entire career path. And yet, beneath all the chaos, there was one question no one could answer: why? Why would someone so close to him risk everything? Some insiders whispered that jealousy played a role. Ken's growing fame in Italy, his new projects, and his increasing global presence might have caused resentment among those who once felt equal to him. Others suggested that the betrayal had emotional roots, maybe a personal misunderstanding that spiraled out of control. Whatever the reason, the damage was irreversible. He began spending more time alone, avoiding parties and interviews. When he did appear in public, his expression seemed different, calmer, but colder. Those who knew him best said that the smile was still there, but the warmth behind it was gone. In the weeks that followed, the story of Yaman's betrayal spread like wildfire. The media tried to guess who the traitor was, while fans flooded social networks with messages of love and support. Hashtags like #StayStrongCan and #WeStandWithYaman began trending in multiple countries. People from all over the world, Italy, Turkey, Spain, even South America, sent him emotional messages, reminding him that while some people may have turned their backs, millions still stood by his side. But Can didn't rush to make a public statement. Instead, he chose silence, a silence that spoke louder than words. Those who had worked with him before said it was his way of regaining control. He doesn't react in anger, one colleague said. He steps back, watches everything, and when the moment comes, he acts with precision. And that's exactly what he did. He started to rebuild, piece by piece. He surrounded himself with a smaller, more loyal team. He began focusing intensely on his craft again, acting, training, and writing. In interviews, he subtly hinted at the past without naming anyone. Sometimes, he said in one TV appearance, "You need to lose what's false to find what's real." The audience applauded, not realizing that every word came straight from a wound that still hadn't fully healed. Behind the scenes, friends described a different man. More reflective, more cautious, but also stronger. He spent long nights in Rome walking through quiet streets, sometimes with headphones on, lost in thought. People who saw him say he seemed at peace, not because he forgot the betrayal, but because he finally accepted it. He doesn't need revenge, one close friend shared. His peace is his victory. Interestingly, the betrayal had an unexpected effect. It deepened the bond between him and his true supporters. Fans began analyzing old videos, defending him online, and even boycotting projects linked to those who had wronged him. It became a movement, one built not on gossip, but on loyalty. And then came the moment everyone had been waiting for, his return to the spotlight. When he appeared at a charity gala weeks later, dressed in a black suit, calm but confident, the cameras flashed endlessly. He smiled. Genuinely, for the first time in months. The betrayal hadn't broken him, it had refined him. He was no longer just a celebrity, he was a man who had faced the fire and walked out stronger. As the silence around the betrayal lingered, the media refused to let it fade away. Every day, new headlines appeared, each one claiming to know who the traitor really was. Some tabloids pointed fingers at a former business associate, others at a close friend from his early career, and a few even suggested someone from his emotional past, a person who had once been more than a friend. The mystery grew, and so did the tension. Yet through all the noise, Yaman said nothing. No confirmations, no denials, no cryptic posts, just quiet dignity. That silence frustrated journalists but fascinated his fans. It became clear that he was not interested in naming or shaming anyone. Instead, he wanted the truth to reveal itself naturally, and in time, it did. A leaked conversation published by a foreign entertainment magazine shocked everyone. It showed a familiar voice, someone once seen standing beside Can during public events, speaking negatively about him to producers and journalists. The tone was cold, calculated, and filled with envy. It wasn't just gossip, it was deliberate sabotage. Within hours, fans connected the dots. They recognized the voice, the style, the phrases. The betrayal was no longer a rumor, it was real. The internet exploded. People demanded answers, hashtags once again trended worldwide, and countless videos analyzed every detail of the recording. But Can didn't react. He attended an event in Milan that same week, calm and collected, his smile composed but distant. When asked about the situation by a reporter, he simply replied, "The truth always finds its own way, and I don't need to say a word." That single sentence went viral, viewed millions of times within hours. Behind that calm tone, however, those close to him knew how deeply it had hurt. Losing a person he once called family, realizing that trust had been traded for fame, it wasn't something he could easily move on from. Still, his response showed what kind of man he truly was. No public arguments, no drama, no revenge, just quiet strength. After that day, the betrayer vanished from public view. Their career slowed, collaborations ended, and doors quietly closed one after another. Meanwhile, Can's reputation soared even higher. People admired not just his talent, but his grace under fire. What was meant to destroy him had only made him more respected. In interviews that followed, when asked how he managed to stay calm, he gave a simple but powerful answer: when someone betrays you, they reveal their truth, not yours. It was the final word on a chapter that once seemed destined to break him. But instead, it became the moment that defined his strength. After months of pain, silence, and reflection, something remarkable began to happen in Yaman's life, a quiet rebirth. The man who had once been betrayed by those closest to him was now rising stronger than ever, not through revenge or anger, but through transformation. It wasn't about proving anyone wrong anymore, it was about rediscovering who he truly was. Friends who had seen him during his darkest days spoke of a new energy around him, calmer, wiser, but still burning with the same passion that had made him who he was. He stopped surrounding himself with noise and started focusing on what really mattered: his craft, his peace, and the people who never left his side. He began spending more time away from the spotlight, retreating to nature, riding horses, traveling to quiet places across Italy and Turkey. Locals often spotted him without cameras or crowds, simply enjoying the moment, smiling at strangers, taking photos with children, laughing again. It was as if he had finally let go of the poison that betrayal had left behind. Then, one evening, he posted something on his social media that moved millions. A single black and white photo of his reflection on water, with the caption, "Some storms don't destroy you, they clean your path." That line hit deep. Fans flooded the comments with emotional messages, sharing their own stories of betrayal and resilience. The man who had been the victim of a painful deception had become a symbol of strength for others who had been hurt and misunderstood. Professionally, the change was just as powerful. His new projects were chosen carefully, not for fame, but for meaning. He started turning down offers that didn't align with his values, focusing instead on roles that told real, emotional stories. His team noticed the difference immediately. This was no longer the Ken who chased success, this was the Ken who defined it. Producers who had once doubted him now praised his maturity. "He's different," one of them said. "He used to walk into a room like a storm. Now, he walks in like the calm after it." It was that balance, between strength and serenity, that captivated people all over again. His fans, who had never stopped believing in him, felt even closer to him now. They didn't just admire the actor, they connected with the man who had fallen, broken, and rebuilt himself in silence. In fan videos, you could hear them say, "He taught us that real power isn't in shouting, it's in standing tall when everyone expects you to fall." Months later, when asked in an Italian interview what the betrayal had taught him, his answer was quiet but unforgettable: "I learned that not everyone claps because they're happy for you, some clap because they think the show is over. But it's never over if you believe in yourself." Those words, delivered with that signature calm voice, went viral instantly. The clip was shared millions of times across platforms. It wasn't just a quote, it was a life lesson. He had turned his deepest wound into wisdom. And as time passed, even those who had doubted him began to realize, Yaman hadn't lost anything. He had only shed what wasn't real. The betrayal that once aimed to break him had actually built the strongest version of himself. Now, when fans see him walk into an event, smile on his face, confidence in his stride, they don't just see an actor. They see a survivor. A man who has seen the worst of people and still chooses to believe in the best. Because in the end, betrayal didn't define him, his response did.